It's rolling. Well, kia ora e te whānau. My name is Raina Redman and I am the National Events Lead here at the Institute of Building. Welcome to today's version of Light Lunch. Today I am joined by Kirsten Magnusson, who's one of our board members, and by Brooke Hill, who has been helping us out with all things brand over the last year. Kirsten, over to you to introduce yourself.
Thanks, Raina. I'm Kirsten Magnusson. I'm a marketer and I specialise in taking new products to the market. I've been in the building industry for a bit over 20 years now. I've worked for some of the big corporates like Fletcher Building, New Zealand Steel, Cayenne Order. These days I've got a marketing agency and I work with organisations in the building and construction sector.
And over to you, Brooke.
Oh, sorry, just did that. Thanks, Rita. Hello, I'm Brooke Hill. I run a small kind of brand slash creative studio. I have been running that now for nearly 11 years. Work with both small and kind of multinationals across pretty much most business sectors, really. Pharmaceutical, more construction of late, but yeah, educating and basically, guiding people on all things branding, getting them, getting organisations to be kind of where they want to be regarding their brand.
And doing a fantastic job for us here at the Institute as well. We've been definitely getting a lot of great new icons and branding across all of our products at the moment, so that's been great. It's great to have you both here. Thank you. Let's just dive straight in. Kirsten, what is one of the things that have been keeping you awake at night?
Well, first up, I should say I sleep really well, so not much. But when I think about this, I think one of the things that really gets on my nerves is a perception that marketing is the colouring in department, that we're there to make things look good and place ads and look after the social media. Actually, marketing is much, much more than that. We're there to look at the target market right from the beginning, to look at the product, to establish that channel to the market. We're there from the beginning right through to the end of the process. So, yeah, that's one of my challenges, is trying to, get that understanding across to people.
And for you, Brooke?
Yeah, I thought we'll keep this kind of industry related. As I think I mentioned before, it's yeah, there are quite a few things that keep me awake. One being cats, but anyway. So I think for me, one of the things would be the creative process, or the brand process. I think in the construction industry, sort of building industry, people are very, very busy, and I guess there's a sort of tendency sometimes to put the process on the back burner, but I guess that makes my job very difficult over time. I almost liken it to kind of like building a house, I suppose. If you've got that decent, whether it be a brand strategy for a new brand, or simply a creative strategy for an existing brand, it's kind of like it works like the foundations. You can just build on things creatively over time, and you kind of don't box yourself into a corner. Whereas I think if you don't have that strategic foundation there, I think you sort of get found out over time, and the messaging and the creative gets less cohesive.
Good. Lots of lessons to learn. Kirsten, anything else that's keeping you awake?
Getting marketing involved early in the process. So I think in construction, in my my 20 years or so experience, there can be sometimes an attitude, we'll build it, you take it to market, which is really well. But if you can bring marketing into the process right from the start, we can help define the target audience and help create a product that will sell to that target audience. So an example I had a couple of years ago, a construction company had built some gorgeous apartments, but they built them in an area that had a lot of elderly people. And so the target audience was always going to be, 65 years plus. But rather than identifying that target audience at the beginning, they've gone and they had built these apartments, which were walk-ups. And so, 65-year-old people don't want to actually have to walk up, to the first floor of an apartment. So we found that really tough to sell. So if we come in at the earlier, we could say, well, here's your target audience, let's plan for whatever, be it a lift or, whatever. But, it's really important to be in there right from the start.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah. And back to you, Brooke. Something else?
Yeah, I think another thing that springs to mind is people. I'm not saying this is this is across every kind of business sector, some more than others, but I think people sort of they underestimate the power of kind of the creativity in building business, building, and I think there's I guess think of what you want to call it, copycat creative, if you like. There's a lot of sort of people who are again would be like, well, because this works for the guy down the road, it'll work for us, sort of thing. Whereas I think I think if you've got a strong niche and you've got a story to tell that's authentic, I think sometimes it's better to go out on a limb and really back yourself and tell your story kind of uniquely, because I guess for me, may just be me because I'm quite brand orientated, but like those are the brands that really, they stand out. Those are the brands that kind of cut through the noise. So yeah, I guess that's another thing I like people to to create their own kind of story.
Be a brand as yourself. Be your own brand. Be yourself.
Be authentic, whether that's your organisation or whether that's you. I don't think it matters, but yeah.
Nice. Good advice for life too, right?
Yeah, I guess so.
Yeah.
Anything else from you, Kirsten?
AI. It's going to turn the marketing industry on its head. So, I guess I spend a bit of time on working out how, ChatGPT, for example, it's everywhere, everyone's using it. It's going to have a big effect on my industry. So I want to be there, embrace it, be there through the journey. There's always going to be a need for somebody. AI will, ChatGPT will never have the solution, the complete solution. It's always going to need a brain that's going to be able to go over it and go, that's actually not quite right, because that actually wasn't the right question to ask. So yeah, I think it's a matter of embracing it and using it to your advantage. Yeah.
Wow, so a lot of upskilling or continuous learning, I guess.
I think getting involved from the start and going on that journey with it, so that you don't get left behind, and you evolve as it evolves, because it's going to evolve really quickly.
Yes, I think for our generation, one of the fastest growing technology pieces that we'll see probably.
I agree. Yeah.
And any more last one from you, Brooke?
Probably one of the things, I guess, in the kind of I guess a few kind of projects that I've experienced over the last kind of 2 to 3 years. I think one of the issues that can arise is people are very, very busy these days, wearing many hats. And I think for myself as a business, trying to get the resources that I need to bring projects to fruition, whether that be existing photography, whether that be content, all sorts of written content, visual content, whatever I need, or whether it even be feedback on the creative process of a rebrand, say, or just simply design collateral. I think one of the things that could be quite difficult or challenging is to pinpoint kind of, or be able to get that feedback to actually get projects to market. There's been quite a few instances over the last kind of 2-3 years with 2 or 3 brands that I can think of that simply haven't eventuated and it's all been put in the too hard basket. And I guess that's just been as a result of just not having a liaison person, or and I think I guess that person doesn't necessarily need to be too skilled in the brand marketing, but they just need to be able to kind of hand, well, either Kirsten or I were similar kind of, we're in similar businesses, I guess. So supply us with the detail that we need to bring projects to life.
And give them the time to be able to.
Yeah, correct.
So,
yeah, and that's that is I guess that's a big one, because you sort of everybody has the next job to do, etc. So you want to sort of get through things efficiently, and yeah,
absolutely. I guess in a way, I think what you said earlier, Kirsten, that marketing is quite often not fully thought of or included in time frames on pulling things together. I kind of liken it to the tiler at the end of a remodel of the bathroom, and everybody else has had their deadlines pushed, and now the last one on the line. So
Your
timeline, job, they've got 2 days.
The budget goes like this.
Your deadline stays.
Yes, deadline stays firm, but everything else pushed.
That's right.
Yeah. Hey, and so while we're on that nice light thought, a couple of quick fire questions for you guys. Kirsten, what are you reading, listening to, or currently watching?
Well, I have to disclaim here that I told Brooke what I was reading, and he said, I don't know about that. Spiders of New Zealand being the latest one. But I went with the professional business angle, and I'm reading Atomic Habits. Actually, I've just read it a while ago, James Clear, and it's about improving yourself 1% every day, which actually adds up to a lot by the end of the year. But what I'm reading now is there's an email that comes once a week, and it's got 3 quotes. 3 quotes, 2 ideas, and 1 basically provoking you. If you did this, what would that be? And I find that really quite challenging sometimes to actually flip things on its head. So yeah, it's a book I highly recommend.
Wow.
Yeah.
And you, Brooke?
I can't keep up with it. I have been reading it for probably longer than I should, but I've been reading the Politically Un-PC Guide to Parenting Teenagers, and that I went through my kind of I go back to reading industry related mags and books all the time, being a visual person, design and that, but I guess I thought I'll go on a limb and try and I've got two kind of elder daughters that are it's good to be able to kind of understand the topsy-turvy world that they have to deal with, and both
and as a parent to help them guide them through it.
And help them guide them through it, and in turn that allows me to be more focused on kind of creatively and with my mind on the job, so I found it really helpful, and Nigel Latta is a very, very I can't it blows me away. It blows me away how he just cuts through the clutter and says things in such simple kind of ways,
I think I need to add that to my list to help me guide through the teenage years as well.
Moral support.
Pardon?
A bit of moral support.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Hey, Kirsten, what do you do to help yourself with well-being and looking after yourself?
Yeah, so we've just bought our old family homestead in rural Bombay. So it's you can flip this both ways. Is it well-being or are we mad? But it's hugely overgrown. It's a massive do-up. So I spend, we all do, the kids get involved as well and their boyfriends, partners. We spend as much time as we can actually working on that. So at the end of the day, every night we go out and we walk around just before dark, and the animals come with us, 2 dogs and 3 cats, and they'll all come with us, and we look at what we've done for the day and plot out what we're going to do, the next time we've got available. So it's actually a nice way to, I guess, look at your accomplishments, but look forward as well.
Quite tangible that way, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly.
And you, Brooke?
I prefer anything on the water, really. I'm a real water person, Aquarius. So yeah, probably surfing first and foremost would be my passion. Allows me to go on a bit of a road trip, get away, wash. What it kind of cleanses yourself. I connect to nature. I find when I get back from that, I'm brimming full of ideas, and yeah. So and fishing comes a close second, I guess. Getting out there in the Hauraki Gulf, and whether it be with the family or sometimes on my own, or just whatever.
Nice. Device-free time, isn't it?
Yeah. It's hard to find, but
yeah, make the opportunities. And Kirsten, what would be your motto? What's your life motto?
My motto is that everything will work out fine, and it always does. I'm a really lucky person, but life has its ups and downs. And whenever I think about, the really stressful times in my life, it always works out fine. So I just focus on that. It will be fine. It will be what it will be. We'll make it work. And, it always works out. So I think, if you think positive thoughts, you get back what you put out.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like that. That's cool. And what about you, Brooke?
I think I guess I got a few, but one that I've sort of always lived by was keep it real. I kind of like use that motto as a guide, both in the way that I deal with people and in the way I do business, I guess, and my creativity. I think it's a good way to be without kind of too much pretension, whether it's we're working on a job, keep the messaging simple and clear, and work to the lowest common denominator sometimes, but I just think it's a good way to be. And I think people respond to it well, and it's
simple.
Yep, simple. Yep.
And our last quick question for you: what advice would you give to our next gens, our students?
I think, the best advice someone ever gave to me, and that's the advice I pass on to someone, if I was 20 years younger, is don't keep trying to open a locked door. Construction, particularly for women, it can be really tough. And if you're not in an organisation that has got your well-being, your career growth, your whatever, if they're not focusing on that and supporting you, then you're not in the right place. So the best thing you can do for yourself is go out there and find an organisation where you are supported, and where you can be encouraged and developed.
Nice.
Yeah.
Good advice, and let's hope we keep passing it on to the next generations. And for you, Brooke, you got any good advice?
Again, it just goes back to the this sort of originality thing or authentic thing, and that's you do you. It's taken me many years to really carve out my true niche, but I guess I've found that, and I kind of I like to nurture that. So I guess what I'd say is find your path. Both, it might be career driven, it might be travel, it might be whatever. Find your kind of like true path, and then and really nurture that. Nurture that skill set if it's professionally. I guess that would be my advice. Yeah.
Good advice.
Good advice. Yes. Again, I think like you, Kirsten, if I could go back 20 years and give myself some of that advice,
I don't know what you don't know. That's the thing.
Absolutely. Yeah. And so just speaking about our students, the Central region, next week we have a double header of events. On Wednesday, we've actually got some speed mentoring for our students up at Vic Uni, followed by a Pacifica panel. So if anybody's interested in attending those, jump onto our website to our events page and look for that registration. But other than that, thank you very much to Kirsten and Brooke for joining me today on Light Lunch. I hope you have enjoyed our conversation.
Thank you.
Good. Have a good day. Bye.
Bye.